and trying to understand the site based on the photos and information that were put in the bushfire management plan provided by the applicant. Obviously thought that there needed to be some further clarification on that. The city, being familiar with the on-the-ground situation there, is more comfortable that vegetation classification is reasonable.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Unless there are any further questions for city staff, we're going to move to the report. In front of us, we have a report recommending approval of the proposals subject to a series of conditions. Do I have a mover for that recommendation in the report? Moved, Councillor Ryan. Do I have a seconder? Seconded, Member Hyde. Councillor Ryan, as mover, do you wish to speak?
No, just happy to say that, you know, once again, we've got a good development. Vass Township is really coming along nicely. As somebody that sat on council when the structure plan was coming through for the Vass Township, it's great to see that it's all coming together. And I think that another daycare centre in the township is worthy of support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Member Hyde, a seconder.
Thank you, Presiding Member. I'm very comfortable with supporting this use in this location, noting it is a discretionary use, but contemplated under the Vass Village Structure Plan. It's appropriate, I think, within its location near other commercial employment as well as residential uses. I note that besides the one objection, there were 3 supporting submissions from the community. I'm not at all troubled by the technical one bay or the car parking provision. I think that there's plenty in the vicinity, and I think it's provided sufficient for its purpose. The applicant has responded to the inputs from the design review panel feedback. I think it picks up the character and context in materiality and in its
Sorry, hold on one sec. Andrew, are you busy talking, or is that a delayed response coming through?
I don't know, that wasn't from our end.
Okay, I think that little bit that you dropped out earlier, we just received. Yes. It filled the puzzle piece. Never mind. Carry on, Member Hyde.
No significant issues were raised from the internal referrals. I think that the landscape management proposed will be adequate to deal with those matters raised by DFES in terms of bushfire issues, and the area is becoming generally more urban in nature. There are some technical details required on drainage, but that's not unusual. And I note that the plan is inclusive of all of the easement encumbrances, which are for the surrounding access roads and lanes. I would like, however, Presiding Member, to propose a number of amendments. I think I've got really 2 amendments. One on block would be to amend condition 3.1a, 3.1b and 5.3 as per the wording that the city proposed and that we saw on screen a short while ago.
Thank you. Can I just check, are you going to deal with 5.4 separately then?
I was going to,
sure,
but I can do it on block if you
I think they relate, so if you want to
I'm happy to include that then, and amendment to 5.4 to make reference to the signs plural and to add the words "and Ganges Lane" after Warrior Court.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for those amendments? Seconded, Member Arias. Thank you. Do you wish to speak?
Very briefly, I'm comfortable that the applicant and the city, together with their technical consultants, have reached an agreement on this. I think we have a safer solution, but one which retains adequate circulation for visitors to the centre and visitors to the childcare, and very often we know that those are shared trips. So I'm comfortable with that arrangement now, and as a flow on from that, given that the access and egress have been reversed, the proposal for 5.4 simply adds reference to add signage notifying that children are present on Ganges Lane as well as Warrior Court for condition 5.4.
Thank you. Member Arias, do you wish to speak?
Thank you, Presiding Member. Very briefly, as Member Hyde's indicated, I think the outcome negotiated with by the applicant and the city is appropriate. I've got no concerns about that, and I think it provides a good outcome given the context of the Bass Village. So on that basis, I'm prepared to support it.
Thank you. Does any other member wish to speak for or against the specific amendments? No? Let's put those to a vote then, that en bloc amendment. All those in favour? Carried unanimously.
Nothing more from me, thank you.
Nothing further from you. Thank you very much. Does any other member wish to speak on the substantive motion as amended? Councillor Cox, do you have anything you wish to say?
No, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Presiding Member. Look, I will be supporting the substantive motion to approve the application. As has already been indicated, it is a discretionary use within the zoning and therefore capable of being approved. I think a childcare premises is consistent with the objectives of the service commercial zone and therefore consistent with the planning framework. In terms of the context, surrounded by commercial uses and primary school not far away, I think it's an acceptable location. Noting the design review panel generally supported it and the applicants responded to some of the recommendations of the design review panel. I think amenity issues such as which are typically a consideration for childcare premises, I think they've been appropriately addressed by the applicant and supported in the RA. And some of those matters are subject to additions which will aid in the management of those potential issues. Finally, in terms of bushfire, even though DFIS did raise some concerns, upon looking at the aerial side and listening to the city officers' comments, I endorse the views of the city. I think DFIS position very conservative and therefore happy to support the motion to approve.
Thank you. I too am happy to support the application. I'm not going to repeat everything that has been said by other members who have very eloquently captured good reasoning for supporting the proposal. Only to say I agree with the city's view that the land use aligns with the objectives of the service commercial zone, and pleased to see that the proposal complies with all relevant requirements of the Bass Village structure plan. Even though there is a parking shortfall proposed, and it looks like that might increase slightly with the redirected traffic flow, I'm still comfortable there is adequate parking provided, especially given the site's location within a centre where some multi-purpose trips are likely. And I'm comfortable with the city's recommended condition to reallocate the multi-purpose bays on site for use by visitors. This is a developing centre within a developing area, and I'm comfortable that the introduction of a childcare premises into this centre will meet a community need without affecting the amenity of any existing residential properties. With that, I will hand back to the mover. Councillor Ryan, do you wish to close?
Yes, happy to agree with a lot of the things the members have said, and the bushfire issue I really don't see as a problem. my grandson is an advocate of the op shop that's probably next door to where this is going to be, and so we know that area quite well, and I think it is a great use of the space, and yeah, I don't think there's any problems with the childcare going in there, and yeah, great development, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. All right, with that, I am going to put the motion to the panel for approval. The motion as amended. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 4, Form 2, DAP applications for Busselton. There are none. Item 5, Section 31, SAT reconsiderations, also nil. With that, I would like to thank Councillor Cox and Councillor Ryan for your attendance and participation. And I would like to thank the city officers for being with us today and for working with the applicant to resolve the issue of the traffic flow. So thank you very much for the amended conditions and your input into them. Moving on now then to part C of our agenda today, the Shire of Carnamah. I would like to welcome, don't know if we have them with us. We'll wait till we have them on screen.
Madam Chair, are you happy for us to leave the
Absolutely.
meeting now?
Good luck.
Great, thank you.
I've got it. Okay.
While we're waiting for our elected members from the Shire of Carnamah, I apologise for anyone watching online that there was a bit of an issue with our live stream, I believe, early on. That has been rectified now.
Sorry, good morning. It's Councillor Isbister from the Shire of Carnamah. Can you hear me? Oh, and
We can hear you. We can't see you, however.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you. It's a learning curve. Sorry.
The learning curve. Sorry.
Do we have Councillor Wolterton?
G'day.
Yes. Welcome to you both. Well, can you hear us and see us?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. All right, let's get moving then. Item 1 on our agenda today.
In the same room.
Sorry, bear with me a sec.
City officers in that.
Do you have city officers there today?
No, we don't.
Yes, sorry.
Hiding in the corner.
You might want to come and sit over there for us, if you don't mind. Thank you. Today. All right. Let us deal with item 1, declaration of due consideration. Panel members for this item have considered all the documentation contained within Part C of the agenda and the Part C related information. Have we lost Councillor Wolterton?
Yes, for a sec.
Yes, we have, but he's sitting right next to me, so he can still hear and see you. Sorry.
All right. I will need to see his hand when I ask, could I confirm by show of hands, please?
Okay.
That all members have considered all information. All right. I can see
Please.
Councillor Isbister, you've considered all the information?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And Councillor Wolterton raised his hand as well. We could see that.
What's going
All
on
right. Disclosure of interest. I have a disclosure of interest I've received from Councillor Wolterton. The interest is an impartiality interest on the basis that Councillor Wolterton participated in a prior council meeting that dealt with the issue. Councillor Isbister, were you at the same meeting?
Yes, I was, but I didn't actually receive that declaration of interest. So, yes, I was attending. So, does that make an impartiality declaration?
Right. All right. We will take it that interest applies to you both. And for the purpose of those watching online and for the minutes, please note that we do have a standing declaration of interest that if an item was considered at a council meeting, The local government DAP members acknowledge that and acknowledge that they are not bound by any previous decisions or resolution of council, and that they will undertake to exercise independent judgment in relation to the item before them. I have considered that standing declaration, and I'm happy that impartiality interest would not prevent the councillors from participating in this meeting. Are there any other disclosures any other member would like to raise in relation to this item? No? Great. All right, let's move on then to item 3.1, various lots, Rose Thompson Road, Garibaldi Willis Road and Carnamah Eneabba Road, Eneabba. Construction of a wind farm, including solar and battery storage and associated infrastructure, DAP number 25/02986. We have one presenter on this item today, Sally Burkhead from Urbis. Come forward, Sally. And Sally will be speaking in support of the application. I believe we also have Chris Chikolev, Senior Renewables Engineer, Emma Jones, Principal Environment Advisor, and Letiu, Senior Environmental Advisor, Chris Binstead, Head of Renewable Energy Development, all from Synergy Red to answer from the panel if required. Sally, I remind you that you have 3 minutes. We've read everything you've given us, so stick to the 3, and we'll ask questions after our presentation. Your time starts when you're ready.
Thank you very much, and good morning, DAP members. My name's Sally Burkhead. I'm an Associate Director at Urbis, and I'm representing Synergy Red in relation to item 2 of the agenda, being the Tathra Wind Farm, proposed to be developed over various lots in a location east of Eneabba. And you've already mentioned the representatives from Synergy Red that I have with me today. They're certainly all available to answer any technical questions that members may have of the item. But thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of the recommendation of the Shire of Carnamah's RAR, which recommends approval subject to a range of reasonable conditions. We've reviewed the RAR report, and we're certainly very supportive of its content and its conclusions. The application proposes a maximum of 140 turbines at a maximum height of 250 metres above ground level. This is the maximum case scenario in terms of the level of impact, and all technical investigations have been undertaken on this basis. The proposal has been subject to early and ongoing engagement with the Shire, key landowners and stakeholders, including the broader community, during a number of events since 2023. Since this time, a range of technical investigations have been undertaken to inform the preparation of the development application. And following determination, Synergy Red is committed to continuing to engage with the Shire stakeholders and relevant agencies. The project's an important renewable energy development, which will contribute significantly to the state's renewable energy future and help the state government's 2030 decarbonisation targets. While Synergy Red is generally accepting of the recommended conditions and the associated advice notes, there are several minor modifications that we're requesting, as outlined in a memo circulated to members in the Shire, and we're happy to discuss these. Consistent with the recommendation of the Shire's RAR, we request that the DAP approve the proposal. Thank you, and we're all here to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Sally. I'm going to start with our members online. Councillor Isbister, do you have any questions of the presenter or any of the representatives of Synergy Red?
Madam Chair, at this point in time, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wolterton, do you have any questions?
No, I don't. Not at this stage.
Okay, great. Members in the room. Member Hyde.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation, Sally, and the information that you circulated to us. The approval suggests a 5-year substantial commencement. Is that something that the applicant has requested?
It is a request of the applicant, and I'm aware that in other matters, 5 years has been approved.
Yes, okay. This application covers a number of lots and different landowners. How is that organised? Quite often when we have applications that cover a number of lots, there's a necessary amalgamation or something of that nature. I'm not seeing that in the conditions at this point. So How does that work from an implementation and decommissioning point of view?
So there is no proposal to amalgamate lots as part of this proposal. The lots will remain under private ownership, under freehold or leasehold agreements as they currently stand. There are agreements which Synergy Red has in place with the landowners of each of those lots, and those landowner agreements will guide the implementation of the proposal and also the decommissioning plans as well.
Right, thank you. You've also asked for some rewording of condition 23, which relates to the accommodation strategy. And I just wondered what the reason was for those particular changes.
So Synergy Red has requested the wording be modified, and it certainly feels as though its liaison with the Shire and working through the accommodation approach would result in a much better outcome than a condition that's worded as it currently stands. So they see this really as a collaborative approach to the solution of accommodation to house workers for the site.
Okay, thank you. I don't think I've got any others. Thank you, presiding member.
Embarrassed. Questions?
Yes, thank you. I know conditions associated with communication and potential requirements. What sort of issues potentially? Is it the height of these facilities? Is that what the issue is?
Sorry, I'm not clear on your question.
Or the condition relating potential communication restrictions or requirements?
Sorry, you're talking about the communications link? So
Yes.
21?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So the situation with condition 21 is relating to any mitigation that might be required or recommended in relation to any issues for telecommunications resulting from the towers. And yes, that relates primarily to the height of the towers. But I can certainly invite Chris Jiggle up to answer any questions in relation to that point if you like.
It may not be necessary. It was more about whether there is an issue. You're saying the condition is about potential once they're built. Yeah,
That's correct.
That's fine.
So if there are any issues, Synergy Red's been in engagement with the agencies for a period of time, and certainly the commitment is to continue to engage with those agencies to resolve any issues that may result, and if there's mitigation that's required, then they'll certainly work with the agencies to resolve those matters.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Just on that, I had a question about condition 21. So you've asked us to amend that condition to change the words required by affected operators to recommended. But when I look at the wording of the condition, the wording still requires any measures identified to be implemented to the satisfaction of the local government, irrespective of whether they're recommended or required. So if issues are raised by the operators, whether they're recommended or required, this condition says that they still need to be implemented to the satisfaction of the local government. So is there a real need to change that condition?
Yeah.
I think it's the wording of or the use of the word required, where those mitigation measures are recommended, and then it's a matter of negotiation between Synergy Red, the telecommunications operator, and the local government to resolve those matters.
Okay, all right. A couple of other questions. So you've asked to amend condition 18. And you've made a comment, it's a requirement of the environmental approval process. But if that's the case, why is it even necessary in your view, condition 18, if it's covered under a separate environmental approvals process?
It is a standard condition that is applied, and I understand is required by the environmental agencies to be, or expected by the environmental agencies to be imposed as a condition of development approval.
And then just very briefly, could you summarise the conversations to date with the Shire in relation to community benefit funding and your intentions or your client's intentions in that regard?
Certainly. So Synergy Red's intention is to follow the draft state government code in terms of community benefits. So the intention is that the contribution would be $200,000 for the first stage of development, and then subsequently to comply with the code, be consistent with the code in relation to any further contributions.
question, if I may. Thank you, Karen Hyde speaking. The RAR and associated documentation does mention that there are some occupied residential dwellings on site. I just wanted to understand how that had been approached from a technical modelling point of view in terms of vibration, acoustics, etc.
I might invite Chris or Emma, perhaps both of you, up to respond to that question. Thank you for the question. And so when you talk about the occupied dwellings, are you talking about within the development envelope?
Yes, yes, it's the report specifically says that there are on-site occupied residential dwellings.
So the guidance that we've received from the Department of Water and Environmental Regulation under the Environmental Protection Noise Regulations is that the noise regulations don't apply to the dwellings that are inside the development envelope because they are host landowners and so are somewhat part of the development. So their guidance is to, however, make sure that there is not unreasonable noise emissions and impacts on those landowners and those dwellings. And so they have advised to apply a slightly higher noise limit to those dwellings. And so in the noise report, it talks about the involved landowners and then the non-involved landowners.
Okay, right.
Why there are different limits for those.
That's how it's distinguished. Okay, thank you for that. That clarifies it for me. Thank you. And those findings have demonstrated that there's no undue amenity impact on involved or non-involved.
Yes, that's right. So if the noise modelling assumed a very the loudest wind turbine that we could find that could be potentially used at the site. So we modelled that, and it also models worst case emissions. It did indicate at one non-involved dwelling that there could be non-compliance with the noise regulations. And so based on that, they looked at the so the turbines, the near turbines can be actually reduced in their power output, which also reduces the noise. And so if we were to do that, then we're able to be compliant at all dwellings.
And that's what's proposed.
So we've actually proposed to have flexibility in the layout, depending on which type of turbine that we choose, and I guess the network capability and capacity that we're able to put into the network. And so based on that, we will, once we go through our procurement process and choose a turbine, then we will finalise the layout. We will redo all the noise studies. And so that's one of the conditions that has been proposed, is to redo that noise study and confirm that we will be compliant at all dwellings.
Lovely. Thank you for that.
Marius.
Yeah, a further question. The question is around the bushfire management plan, and particularly condition 20, which requires an updated bushfire management plan. And it's a question to the Shire officers later. What is the expectation about the updated plan? Is there something specific? Obviously, there is an issue with DEFA's position on this. And that comment is based on the current bushfire management plan. What's the expectation with that condition? What's your understanding?
I think the understanding is that the requirement for a bushfire management plan is on the basis of what's existing on the site and anticipating the future development on the site. The expectation would be that, as with all development, that the bushfire management plan is updated subsequently as a working document through the process of the application.
Okay, so potential response to detailed design.
That's right. Not any specific requirements that we're aware of, but the evolution of the bushfire management plan through the process of the application would be my expectation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. If there are no further questions of the applicant team, I am going to move to invite questions of the local government. We have Tim Clinch with us today representing the Shire of Carnamah. the applicant proceeds, and we'll bring Tim forward.
Presiding member, if you would just indulge me for a moment, there is one further condition that we have a query about and would like a minor modification made to the terminology of a document. So condition 14, which refers to the electromagnetic induction assessment in the wording of the condition, it should actually be interference rather than induction.
Okay, so that's just an administrative amendment.
That's right.
We can deal with that administratively. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the clarity.
Would you like me to bring? Thank you.
Welcome, Tim. Would you like to make any comments following the presentations that have been made, or are you happy for us to go straight to questions?
Probably the only comment I'd make is that the applicant's modifications to the conditions, the Shire has no objection to those. I'm happy to take questions.
Right. All right. I'm going to start with our members online. Councillor Isbister, do you have any questions for the Shire representative?
Madam Chair, no, at this point in time, I don't. I've listened and understood what the process, and I have related to the proposed amendments to some of the items that are there as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Busselton, any questions?
Not at all. Happy with all those amendments, and I've gone through it. We agree as per Tim. Yeah, thank you.
Right, we will cover that off when we debate the item. Thank you for that. Members in the room, any questions of Tim? Member Hyde.
Thank you. Tim, I just wondered if you could explain to me some of the conditions that are included would appear to be more along the lines of advice notes rather than necessarily requirements by the Shire, specifically 10, 11 and 12. I flagged, other members may have others.
Yes.
I just wonder, you know, if there's any issue with those actually being advice notes, or if there's a particular reason why you have included them as conditions. They're the ones that I think mostly relate to the air services, CASA, vertical obstacle data, etc.
The reason they were made conditions is that they are slightly at odds with the air services and CASA submission. We probably requested a higher level of conditions. So it was, you know, the particularly condition 12, which is quite specific in what has to be placed on the guy wires and on the deadlines. In response to the submission from CASA, which raised concerns about impact on aviation. So they could be advised. I mean,
yes, I understand their concern. Obviously, these are tall things that flight paths and so forth need to be aware of. But my concern would be 10, 11 and 12. If they're conditions of a development approval, that would place the onus upon the local government to make sure that they're comfortable with meeting the requirements of each of those conditions, where I think from your explanation, my understanding is that this is basically another approval or approach that needs to be gone through with CASA and air services for them to give their approval.
That's correct. The conditions 10 and 11 actually don't require any local government input.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
If I can, I mean, probably the wording of these conditions was done in consultation with the applicant. So
yes,
may want to have the opportunity to provide a comment, but you're right. The 10 and 11 are certainly not issues that the local government will have any say or any approval of. But 12 is a bit more specific a condition.
Yeah. Okay. That's about it from me.
Thank you. I raised a question with the applicant about the condition 20, which refers to an updated bushfire management plan. You heard the response. Is that your understanding of what the condition is intended to capture? Yeah, okay. Just a follow-on question. DFIS did have some difficulties with the form of assessment. The Shire obviously has accepted the bushfire management plan in terms of conclusions.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I will say it's not unusual for DFIS to have difficulties with these sort of proposals. So, all right. Thank you. Oh, sorry. One final question. There was some concerns about the local roads in terms of what specifically was the Shire's concern?
I mean, like any small rural shire, the Shire has a limited budget. There could be quite intensive use of the roads, certainly during the construction period. And the Shire is just, I guess, safeguarding that if damage to the roads occurs, there will need to be some arrangements made to repair that damage. There's advice notes, for example, that that if there's severe rain events, the Shire cannot guarantee the roads will be open. 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. So it's just safeguarding that. The Shire has quite a limited resource, both in personnel and in finances, to maintain a road for the benefit of one development. The Shire will maintain the road as if it's maintained now for a rural use. And if any damage to the road occurs that can be attributed to this development, the Shire would expect that the developer would communicate with the Shire about how they're addressed.
Presiding member, just on that issue, obviously there is a condition about construction management plan, and that's where I would imagine the highest intensity will be on those local roads. My view is that the condition will deal with that. Are you satisfied that that's the case? Yeah.
You are correct, member, that the intensive activity will be during construction. Once the development is completed and operational, I think its traffic patterns will be quite minimal.
Okay. Thank you, Presiding Member.
Thank you. All right, if there are no further questions of the Shire, we're going to move to the report. We have a report in front of us recommending approval of the proposal, subject to a number of conditions, and just noting there was one administrative change to one of those. I would like to seek a mover and seconder for that recommendation. Do I have a mover? Councillor Isbister. Do I have a seconder for the recommendation? Councillor Walterton. Great. Councillor Isbister, as mover, would you like to speak to the motion?
Madam Chair, no, thank you. I've listened, I've understood, and I'm happy to move the recommendation as presented with the minor changes that we've talked about. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Walterton, a seconder. Do you wish to speak?
No, I'm quite happy as well. I think it's been very good to pick up those little things that we need to discuss, and yeah, quite happy. Thank you.
Other members, anyone wish to speak to the motion? Member Hyde.
Thank you, Presiding Member. I'm very comfortable to support this. I do note that under the scheme it's not listed and it's zoned rural, but having looked at the objectives of that zone, I think this is compatible. As it still enables a large amount of primary agricultural area to continue and uses to sit happily alongside. It adds to economic benefit and the employment of the region. And I note that the Shire actually has got a local planning policy on wind farms and that this complies with that also. So satisfied from that point of view. I'm comfortable with the response I had to the question around how things will be implemented and decommissioned with various lots and landowners, and understand those other contractual obligations which will assist with that. I'm comfortable with the response on the acoustic reporting and note that that is an ongoing thing once the detail of the facility have been determined. I note there was only one submission which covered a broad range of issues, not just associated with this development, and I think they've been adequately responded to. Looking at the visual impact that was raised by an issue in that submission, I believe that this is not an uncommon use in agricultural areas, and certainly it's associated with the changing environment and economy and drivers within regions of this nature and our demand for sustainable energy. And I think adequate mitigation measures have been taken to lessen the impact of this. I note that there are a number of ongoing management plans required as conditions of approval, and outside of the planning framework, also other approval processes for environment and aviation clearances. I note as well that Red Energy is working and continues to work with Aboriginal groups, and that community engagement is required as part of the construction management plan. And looking at the advice note for community benefit, I note that there are difficulties for regional local governments in achieving community benefit from renewable energy facilities, and we wait for the statutory framework to catch up with that. But I think it's appropriate as an advice note, and obviously there is a general undertaking, as we've heard from Red Energy, to see those things through with goodwill. Presiding member, I'd like to make amendments in connection with the applicant's request. Did you want to take those individually? Or
Yes, please. Let's do them.
Okay. So the first amendment would be to condition, I think we could do condition 17 and do condition 17 as an amendment to delete the word operations and add the words wind turbine commissioning.
Thank you, Member High. Do I have a seconder for that amendment? Thank you, Member.
Presiding member, can I suggest that condition 18 has similar wording, that perhaps we capture both?
I wondered about that, that condition 18 also has the reference to TWER and DBCA.
Which I think is appropriate. So I'm happy to support them.
So those two.
Let's deal with them individually. Just for the minutes, it's a little bit easier. So do you wish to speak to any further to the amendment to 17?
I think it just clarifies that this is about the commissioning of the wind turbine, which is an industry phrase.
Okay. Does any other member wish to speak for or against the amendment to condition 18?
17.
No? All right, let's vote on that. All those in favour? Carried unanimously.
Thank you. Condition 18, similarly, the deletion of the word operations and insertion of the word turbine commissioning. I'm comfortable at this point to also move the reference to DWER and DBCA and the deletion of relevant environmental authorities as part of that amendment.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Embarrassed. Thank you. Do you wish to speak further?
Just adds clarity, I think, to the condition.
No, presiding member, it's a point of clarification. Happy to support it.
Great. Does any other member wish to speak for or against that amendment? No? All right. All those in favour? Carried unanimously.
Thank you. Condition 21, deletion of the word required and insertion of the word recommended in its place.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Embarrassed. Do you wish to speak further to that?
I note that you did raise a question about this, but I think required is a little firmer than recommended, and I think the ultimate arbiter is the local government in this rather than those of other radio communication operators. So I'm comfortable that they make a recommendation and then the local government has the final say on what needs to be implemented in accordance with the development application.
Thank you. Does any member wish to speak further on this amendment? No? Great. All those in favour? Carried unanimously.
Thank you. Condition 23, deletion of the word submitted, insertion of the words developed in consultation with the local government, deletion of for approval, and deletion of once approved, and then insertion of word the accommodation strategy shall be implemented to the satisfaction of the local government.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Member Arias. Speak further.
I think it just adds clarity to the process, and certainly I take the view that collaboration on matters of the accommodation strategy for a regional local government are important, and obviously still the local government must be satisfied that that strategy is appropriate and can be implemented.
Thank you.
I'll just briefly, I'd endorse those comments, but also we heard earlier that the Shire's comfortable with the suggested change. So yes, I'll support that.
Thank you. Any other member wish to speak for or against this amendment? No? Let's put it to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Back to you.
Amendment to advice note Q to delete the word interests and insert the word easements.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Member Arias.
Again, just clarity as to what the purpose of that advice note is, but just noting that it is an advice note only.
Thank you.
No further comment.
Any member wish to speak for or against? No. Let's put that to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously.
Amendment to advice note S, after the words electrical easements, insert the words for the development.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Member Arias.
Again, just clarity that the advice note relates to this proposal.
Thank you. Let's vote on that amendment. All those in favour? Carried unanimously.
Thank you. And one further, relating to conditions 11 and 12, to move those to advice notes with, I don't know if we need introductory words, the applicant is advised, but I think they probably stand alone as advice notes as they're currently worded.
I think they stand alone. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Member Arias.
I'll just note that I accept and respect the officer's response to this, but I think also we've heard that really there's very little role that the local government play in relation to these three particular conditions. I don't believe moving them to advice note reduces their relevance in any way, given that there are external approvals and processes that are set down in legislation for the applicant to follow. So I think the local government, through putting them as an advice note, is acknowledging the importance of them, but also respecting that actually it's a process outside of the planning framework.
Right, thank you. Do you wish to comment?
I just, once again, briefly, I think it clarifies the intent. So I'm happy with that.
Excellent. Does any other member wish to speak for or against that amendment?
Just happy to endorse. Thank you.
Right. All those in favour? Carried unanimously.
Nothing further from me.
Nothing further from you. Member Arias, do you wish to speak on the substantive?
Thank you. I'm happy to support the motion to approve the proposed use. The information provided to the meeting has been very comprehensive, including the environmental and visual assessment. So I'm comfortable that the conclusions reached in those reports is appropriate and endorsed in the RAR. And there are obviously ongoing management conditions to safeguard and implement some of the requirements from those reports. In terms of the planning framework, I agree it's a use not listed, but there is capacity under the scheme to approve the use. And I also note that the local planning policy the Shire has in relation to these types of uses, it meets the objectives of that. So on that basis, I think prepared to support it. In terms of bushfire management plan, having reviewed the plan, I'm satisfied that the plan meets the objectives of SPP 3.7, notwithstanding that DFS has raised concerns, and also noting that the Shire does support the conclusions of the bushfire management plan. So on that basis, I'm prepared to support the motion to approve.
Thank you, Member Arias. I too am happy to support this very significant application. I did do a double take when I saw the value, the estimated value of development in the report. I thought surely that's a typo, but it's clearly not. I agree with the Shire's view that this is a use not listed, and it aligns with the objectives of the rural zone, especially given that most of the site will be undisturbed and will continue to be used for agricultural practices. I note we're being asked to approve a maximum case scenario. It may well be that the development is not as extensive as currently proposed. And I also note there'll be minimal and only localised road upgrades required, and where possible, that the network of internal tracks to be used will be following existing farm tracks. So it's really a low impact proposal as far as that's concerned. It also isn't located near any sensitive uses, and the submission received during consultation does seem to have more to do with wind farms in general and government policy rather than any specific impact that this proposal has. There were quite a few agency submissions, and I note that these have contributed to some of the conditions and the advice notes being recommended. None of those submissions required any changes to or affect the merit of the proposal. And in relation to community benefit funding, note the advice note encouraging and reinforcing the applicant's intent to establish and implement a community benefits fund with the Shire in absence of current policy requiring such a contribution. So very happy to support all in all. With that, I'm going to hand back to the mover. Councillor Isbister, anything you wish to say?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, I'm happy to endorse all relevant comments and certainly happy to move the recommendation as presented. Thank you.
Great. Let us vote then on the substantive motion as amended. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 4 on our agenda, Form 2 DAP applications. There are none. Item 5, Section 31 SAT reconsiderations, also nil. Part D, closing off on our agenda today, are the business, SAT applications and Supreme Court appeals. SAT applications for the DAPs are all listed on our website. With that, I close the meeting at 10:50 a.m. and I thank everyone for your attendance and participation, particularly our local government members and the applicants. Thank you for being present today. And thank you to the Secretariat. As usual, we've had a couple of little glitches today, but we have dealt with them appropriately. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.